the story, did it come?
We're good.
Why are you hearing the dog? Is it?
We're about to go out. Mary Jane, good afternoon and welcome to About That Time. I'm your host, Noah Rubin, and once again, we are extremely excited. We have an amazing guest today, the one and only Al Harrington. Now, if you guys aren't up on Al and his movement, not only is he an NBA legend, but he is now a cannabis pioneer. And he's not just being in the business of cannabis, he's using his platform to spread the message, to change minds in the world of athletics and beyond. Al, thank you so much for joining us,
Thanks
sir.
for having me.
I really appreciate you coming through. Let's start the day by enjoying some cannabis. You brought some of your Viola through.
Yes,
We're smoking
sir.
on Swami Select. They're supporters of the brand.
Yes,
Here you
sir.
go, sir.
All
Let's
right.
do this. Now, this is some nice packaging. We were just talking about California. You're active in multiple states with this brand, is that right?
Correct, man. We started in Denver, Colorado, and actually 2011 as caregivers, and we launched the Viola brand in 2014.
Okay. And so it's pretty interesting to see how these businesses have to take shape in different states. It's been a different experience in different states that you've gone to, right?
Yeah, every state is different because of all the regulations. You know, you have some states that, you can't sell flour, you only could, sell oils and vapes. And then, vice versa. For us, we started off as a concentrate company for a couple reasons. One, we identified that, in Colorado, when, it's like deli style for selling flour, it's
Right.
really hard for you to brand yourself as a brand, but with concentrates, you always had to have packaging and different things like that. And then another thing was that, I started this company behind my grandmother, because I saw the way cannabis helped my grandma. And, when she started using, she started getting paranoid back in North Carolina where she lived. And she felt like, when people came by our house, they knew that she smoked weed. So she stopped smoking it, even though it was helping her, because she was worried about that. So I had to figure out a way that I could help her medicate herself without everybody knowing. And that's how we got into the concentrate game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in terms of sort of your personal experience with your grandma, did you kind of help walk her through different options and kind of explore with her the things that were working most effectively?
Man, I'll tell you, I really feel like God chose me for this industry because I had no idea when I had to try it for the first time. You know what I'm saying? It was just something I was reading in the newspaper. I was reading that cannabis, cured glaucoma. And, she was suffering from eye pain. She was, her eyes hurting so bad she could barely see.
Right.
And I just said, look, Grandma, just try cannabis. You know what I'm saying? I said, you're taking all this medication and it's not giving you any relief. Just try it and it'll be our little secret. And obviously now I've told the entire world about it. But, she got instant relief like within an hour. And the first thing she did was go downstairs and read her Bible.
Amazing.
And, I tell people all the time, my grandmother's not going to heaven, we're all going to hell. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's how straight and narrow she is. And, for that correlation, because I could remember growing up, her kicking my aunts and uncles out the house for coming in the house smelling like weed.
Right.
So, she firmly believed that it was a gateway drug and a one-way, trip to prison, you know what I'm saying, by using. So, for her to go read her Bible, to me, it just like spoke volumes to me and it really inspired me to learn more, educate myself. And I got to the point where, I realized that this is something that, this plant can heal the world. Mm-hmm. And, I could be a part of that. So, I'm very excited and I'm happy that, that happened, you know what I'm saying, to get me to where I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it sounds like you kind of changed your grandma. She was on one side of this conversation, now she's on the other. Are there still holdouts in the family or is everyone on page here?
No, pretty much everyone's on page at this point. You know what I mean? Everyone, any issue anyone has. I stubbed my toe. Al, what do you think? Any weed that could help this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm at the point with my family where everybody's just looking for an excuse, you know what I'm saying,
100%.
to try cannabis. And it's really amazing, you know what I'm saying? I actually feel like it almost kind of brings my family together. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying about this plant, because even for me, man, I'm friends with people that, that I would never be friends with if it wasn't for cannabis. You know what I'm saying? I even had some rivals in the NBA that, I never thought we could be friends off the court. And, one day we smoked a joint and now we're like best of friends. So, I just feel like this plant is truly amazing.
I believe that. I believe that. Now, you mentioned a second ago sort of your grandma's perspective on the plant. This is a one-way trip to prison. Now, she wasn't 100% inaccurate about that, because I think one of the things that we're seeing here is not only is there a business opportunity, but there's sort of an obligation to people who've been victimized by the criminal justice system. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, the reality of it is, 85% of all drug arrests for, blacks and minorities is all cannabis related. You know what I'm saying? And it really makes no sense at this point. You know what I mean? You look at this industry and, right now it's being dominated by people other than minorities. And, it's like as soon as they said it was okay, now it's just okay. But now you still got these kids that are still grown men, still in prison, looking out their jail cells and seeing these dispensaries.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just something that's just not right about that. And, I feel like, being that I'm one of the pioneers in the space, it's kind of my job to kind of create opportunities for those people. And if it's not for them, it's for their family or their kids. You know what I'm saying? And,
100%.
Some of the stuff that I've done recently is I joined with this non-for-profit called HBCU with my boy Huey. And what we did was we started a scholarship. It's called the Viola Harvest Scholarship, and we're doing it at FAMU this year, where we have 5 girls and 5 boys, learning about the cultivation, manufacturing, and just the whole entrepreneurship of cannabis. You know what I mean? And the reason why that's important to me is because it kind of has to start with them. Because even when you still talk to some older people, I think most older people are coming around to it now. But, the young kids, they don't realize that this industry is something that they can really be a part of. Because at the end of the day, it's still a war on drugs in their community. They're still seeing people get locked up for nickel bags of weed. You know what I'm saying? So they're so scared, they don't even understand it's an opportunity. And my whole thing is I just don't want us to just miss it. You know what I mean? Like how we miss tobacco, we miss alcohol. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, this industry was pretty much built on minority and black people's backs. You know what I'm saying? Because it was already a $1 billion industry, you know what I'm saying, before legalization, happened, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just important for us to give back, especially with the youth, because as we teach them, they'll go back and tell their friends, you know what I'm saying? So now you got these 10 kids that are all from different neighborhoods that have been impacted by the war on drugs, and now they can go home and talk to 5 to 10 of their friends and tell them about what they just learned last semester, and like how this industry is growing, and that, you don't have to sell on the corner. You actually can go get a job. You know what I'm saying?
You can study it in school even.
Study it in school and actually get a job and make a career of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important. What do you feel like in terms of a community as a whole? People look at businesses and industries in general as competitive places. How do you feel about, Viola and other brands in the space? Do you feel like there's a different kind of camaraderie than you see in other industries?
Especially when I first came in, it was a lot of camaraderie. You know what I mean? It was just like people were so excited just to show what they had. You know what I'm saying? And now since the industry started to mature, now people are starting to kind of hold stuff close to chest. But, I think that, this industry is so big, you know what I'm saying? I think that, it's enough opportunity for all of us to be successful. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this industry will be bigger than liquor. You know what I'm saying? And liquor's already, I think like a $287 billion industry, and cannabis will surpass that for sure, just because of the medicinal benefits of it. The recreational side to do what it's going to do, but the medicinal side is through the roof.
Correct.
So I just think that, I think it'd just be better off if we kind of shared information.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think that all of our products talk to different people. You know what I mean? I think that's what's unique about cannabis as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different people that like different things. They like different packaging, like just the story. You know what I'm saying? 100%. That people will get behind. So, I'm one of the people, and maybe I shouldn't be like this, but I'm very free with information.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like the more educated we are and the more educated people get into this space, it'll just make the industry that much better.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Now, speaking of stories, can you tell us the story behind the name Viola?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned it in the beginning, but in 2010, I was playing for the Denver Nuggets, and in 2009 is when cannabis first went, medicinally legal there. And, I always read the newspapers or whatever. So I pick up the newspaper every day and, to go read the sports section, obviously. But it's always something about cannabis, a different grow, a different strain, Charlotte's Webs, all this different stuff. And it intrigued me. So, I'll read half the article and stuff like that. So, maybe like 3 days before I finally was able to convince my grandmother to come see me play in Denver, because, she old school. She only liked to drive on a bus or a train, but she had to fly to come to Colorado. So I was able to get her there. But 2 days before that, I was reading in the paper about, glaucoma. and about how cannabis cured glaucoma. So my grandmother gets to the house, you know, it was just regular. She gets there and I bring all her bags in the house, and then she had this one last bag and she said, put that on the counter. So I pick it up, put it on the counter. She opens it up, she puts this pill box out and she starts taking all these pills, right? And here I go. I'm like, Grandma, you take a lot of vitamins. Thinking they're vitamins. And she's like, no, these not vitamins. She's like, I'm taking this for this and this for that. And she said glaucoma and it stuck out. So I was like, Grandma, you taking all this mess? She's like, yeah, I take all the time. I was like, well, I was just, and this is kind of ignorant because at this point I had only smoked one time in my life. And I had smoked in Phoenix with my teammates one night after we had got eliminated from the playoffs. And I'll never forget how paranoid I was. I was like, cannabis is not for me. You know what I'm saying? So I had never touched weed again. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm telling her about it, you know, it's kind of ignorant to me, like kind of maybe want to see my grandmother high, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, you know, I was just telling her about, you know, how cannabis helped with glaucoma. So after I tell her this whole spiel, she said, it sounds interesting. She said, well, what's cannabis? And I said, it's marijuana, weed. She said, reefer? She said, boy, ain't no reefer gonna help my eyes. She said, reefer ain't gonna do nothing but make me hungry or whatever. So she shot me down or whatever. So next day I come home and she's in my kitchen, and this time, you know, her face is in her hands. And I'm like, Grandma, what's up? And she look up and she's squinting and she's like, is that you, baby doll? And I said, yeah, it's me. She was like, my eyes hurt so bad today I can barely see. And I said, so Grandma, you taking all that medication up there and your eyes still hurt? And she was like, it's hit or miss. So I said, well, listen, why don't you just try cannabis? They said it cures it. Like you hit it a couple times, you're done. And she's like, no, we kept talking. Then she said, you know what? I'm in so much pain today, I'll try anything. So I had my boy go to the store. He got a Vietnam Kush, is what the dispensary recommended. Bought it back, vaporized it for her. She started smoking it or whatever. And, you know, she hitting it like, you know, 2-3 times. You know, most people that smoke vape, you know, out them bags or whatever, they cough. She not coughing, she blowing it out, right out her nose. And I'm like, Grandma, you smoked before? And she's like, nah, I never smoked. She's like, I smoked one time when I was a kid or whatever. So I took her downstairs. I had a game this day, so I took my nap, woke up an hour and a half later, so I went downstairs to check on her. And when I knocked on the door, her back was to the door. And I was just like, Grandma, you good? You know, because I knew she was hot. She was turning around, she was crying tears. And she said, I'm healed. She said, you know, I haven't been able to read the words of my Bible in over 3 years. And I went in the room and I hugged her and she was crying. She made me start crying. And, you know, I went upstairs, and when I never ride into the game, it was like slow motion. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe that like weed really fixed her.
That's
you know what
wild.
I'm saying? And I called my cousin, who's my co-founder. I called him the next day and I told him the story. And he was like, you know, he's like, Cuzzo, I told you, I'm telling you, weed is a magical plant, is what he's telling me. And he had him come to Colorado, and the rest is history, man. We found our building in 2011. We did our first build out, which is very small, $40,000 we put into it. We were caregivers where we actually took care of patients that either had HIV or cancer. And, you know, we've grown since then. You know what I'm saying? 2014 is when we got our first official license, and we decided to name the company Viola, which is my grandmother's name.
That's amazing. Now, obviously, that's an amazing story of kind of a personal connection to this plant. You know, you've grown it into a business that's in multiple states at this point, and I think that's all really uplifting. But there's also been some, you know, incidents that you've been around involving law enforcement,
right,
even post-legalization,
yeah,
that have affected the brand directly. Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, well, they always say, like, you're not in the industry until you get rated. You know what I'm saying? You're not really in it. You know what I mean? And I was thinking that'll never happen to me. I got resources, I got attorneys. Obviously, we're not gonna do anything wrong. We're gonna get every piece of paperwork we're supposed to have before I would ever put my name on anything. You know what I mean? But that's not good enough sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I guess I had to get my initiation to the space. And what happened was we were in Detroit. And, you know, we've been out there for over 2 years, you know, kind of vetting the industry, just seeing what some of the opportunities were. And, you know, I felt like going to Detroit, I could have a bigger impact than just the brand Viola. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is by giving Black people jobs in the space. You know what I'm saying? People that need good jobs. You know what I'm saying? And obviously in this space, you know, there's a lot of great opportunities. And, you know, I tell people all the time, like my place in Colorado, you know, a lot of my employees used to ride their bikes to work. Now they have cars, they live in apartments, they moved out of their parents' houses. You know what I'm saying? So I just know how impactful this industry can actually be to people. So, you know, we were in Detroit, you know, we were operating as caregivers. And pretty much the police got some bad information at the city, and they exercised a raid on our building. And obviously they took all the product. They left our warehouse open so that it was robbed, allegedly. So all of our equipment, we put over $1 million worth of equipment in there, and everything was gone. But at the end of the day, we was proven to be right. We had done everything we were supposed to do. The judge threw the case out, and now we're just trying to continue to move forward. And why the story is needs to be told is because if it wasn't me, and me being that the resources that I have, a lot of people put all they have into this. You know what I mean? And when police just, when there's no accountability and they could just raid and go just kind of destroy what somebody put their, heart and soul into, and it just be done. It really sucks because, some of the things that come is not just the raid, is the fact that once the raid happened, I still got to pay rent. I still got to pay electricity. I still got to pay insurance. You know what I mean? And, a lot of people, they're waiting for these first harvests so that they can start to pay some of these bills off. You know what I'm saying? Loans and different things. You know what I mean? So, I just feel like, I need to tell this story because, it's complete bullshit and they have to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're going to say that it's legal to do it. The police should not be, put in that position where they can just come in there and just do whatever the hell they want to do. And like I said, there's no accountability behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, people are getting a good sense of where you've come with the brand. We also want to make sure we give them a little bit of a look inside your life. We take some pictures from your Instagram and you can tell us the story behind them, all right? This first one is a picture of you and a legend chilling out, Mr. Mike Tyson. Tell us a little bit more about your chilling with Mr. Iron Mike.
So he has a brand in the space called Tyson's Ranch. And I went over there to meet with his group. We're actually gonna partner up and do a couple different things together. And Mike just so happened to be there, and I went in the back and he was watching boxing from 1950s. He's really a historian of boxing. So I go back there, and it's not the first time I met him, but it's the first time I could actually kick it with him. And I went, Mike, what's up? And we start talking or whatever. So I tell him about his daughter's an unbelievable tennis player, might be a pro. And we lit up a joint. So I smoked weed with Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? And when I talk about Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, I literally cried like a baby. That's how much I loved Mike Tyson growing up. You know what I mean? And just be able to sit and smoke a joint with him was just
pretty next level.
On my bucket list. It's done now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's
absolutely.
Pretty cool.
That's a pretty amazing experience. And the type of people like Mike who are trying to do good things with what they're doing at Tyson Ranch, also an educational perspective on the cannabis space, trying to spread goodness wherever possible.
It's all good.
Now, speaking of being good, this one looks like you're just kind of chilling on the couch, having a laid back afternoon, kind of like today. What's going on here?
Oh man, I went to New York to do the Duce podcast with my brother Myth Bleak and my young boy Rel, and we did a podcast. Talked about what I had going on in this space. We talked about the scholarship, and it's in the Rock Nation offices or whatever. So this room is a famous room. It's called the Gold Room. And they have a lot of their artists and just different things that inspire them as a brand and a company. And there's a lot of famous people that's been on that couch. And now I can say I was on there too. Pretty dope. That's a cool picture, right?
Yeah.
I made a t-shirt of that. I wanted to wear it to my party, but my PR person told me I couldn't wear it. She said, you can't wear a shirt with your face on it. Why not? Look how dope that picture is. But she's a hater, it's all good.
Hating on your gold couch? Al, come on. That's not fair.
Oh, man.
A real good flick. All right, we got another one. This is also a pretty legendary flick. I think this would be worthy of a t-shirt. What's going on here?
Bro, that was my sophomore year in high school, my first basketball card. That's when I was 210. There was a lot going on in that picture. I was not very good. That's for sure. I was not in that picture right there. I was the worst player on my team. I was still a starter just because I was 6'5", but I had no business starting. I was the worst player on the team. But shit changed fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that transformation. What was it like when you realized you could actually get yourself to another level?
Well, it's funny. I always wanted to play football. I wanted to go to Notre Dame and play for the New York Giants. That was my goal. That was it. And I had a growth spurt, and I moved. So I was living in Orange, New Jersey. I was 5'9" when I graduated 8th grade. And we moved to Roselle, New Jersey, and by the time I moved to Roselle, I was 6'4".
Wow.
So I had that much of a growth spurt. So when I got to this city, to Roselle, I'm walking around, and everybody like, oh, you must play. I'm like, yeah, I hoop. I get to the court, I'm the worst player. But I played or whatever. So long story short, I ended up going to St. Patrick's my sophomore year. I ended up transferring schools, and I still don't know why I did that, because I was so much better as a football player than basketball, and I went to an all basketball school. There's God always he has a plan for me. So I go to St. Patrick, I'm the worst player on the team my sophomore year. My sophomore year summer, going into my junior year, I worked out, and my high school coach got me invited to the ABCD All-American camp, which is run by Adidas. I get there, I actually play pretty good. It's like starting to come together for me. You know, I make the All-Star team or whatever, playing the All-Star game that night. The next year I play, and I don't know, I just got better. You know what I'm saying? So I led the team in scoring my junior year. And then going into my senior year, I mean, I had a transformation. Like, I just became a totally different player. Like, and I ended up being the #1 player in my class. I went from an unranked sophomore, pretty much, to the #1 player in the class my senior year. And it was just all hard work, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I know what it takes to be successful, you know what I'm saying? And I try to, implement those same qualities and characteristics into the cannabis space. And, I always tell people, like, nobody ever outworked the Viola crew. You know what I'm saying? We know what hard work is, and we grind, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened to me, you know what I mean? Hard work pays off. I got to the mountaintop. I played in the NBA for 17 years, and, it was truly a blessing.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of rising to the occasion, speaking of being on mountaintops, I think this is a picture of you in front of another big accomplishment.
Yeah, so that was in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. We had a party at the MJ BizCon.
Yeah.
And pretty much what it was about was just, Viola's a lifestyle brand. You know what I mean? And, we're a lifestyle brand, and, that just so happened to be a cannabis company as well. And what we try to do is just try to change the narrative of, what people think cannabis is. Most people think that, when you smoke a joint, you'll sit in a place like where we are, just on the couch and can't do nothing. But no, you actually can smoke weed and party and dance and, have a really good time, you know what I mean? And it's always a great opportunity to network around the plant. And that's why we chose Vegas at the MJ BizCon, because we actually did some real good business there. We actually raised some money. You know what I mean? Not that the party was to raise money, but after the party, they saw our vision and they writing checks. You know what I mean? So it was just a great experience for us. We had a lot of fun. The team that put it together, rock stars, Kelsey, Carey, my PR helped again, Simone, and the Viola team. We had a successful party.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's about having a great team. And a place where there's a lot of people who are paying attention to people doing good things, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Well, this is a more interesting picture from your Instagram, and I would love to know the story behind it. Military garb, camouflage. What's the story behind this picture?
Yeah, well, that's Winnie Mandela. So Nelson Mandela's, wife. She survived him, but obviously, all the things that I'm sure she saw and was a part of, is the reason why I had the freedoms that I have today. You know what I'm saying? Even though it was another country, but everybody saw it. You know what I'm saying? They had an impact on the world. And I just felt like, when someone like this, like a real pioneer, like for real pioneer, arrows in the back pioneer, still made it. I think that, I think we need to do a better job of letting them smell their roses while they're alive. But I think that when they do pass, we just have to take a second just to acknowledge them.
Yeah.
And that's what that's about. And I think that picture just speaks volumes about what she meant to, black people and minorities across the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Working hard to make change.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Now, this is a different kind of pioneer in this next picture, but I think it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, Cube.
What's up here?
Nah, Cube, man, I got a lot of love for Cube. It's funny because, he always gonna be, the gangster Q NWA, was Doughboy, he always that. And then when you see him outside of that, it's like, damn, I want him just to be talking shit and might shoot me, you know what I'm saying? But from a business perspective, come on, man, he's a true inspiration to me. I hope that one day I could get him to be a part of my company, you know what I'm saying? Just because of just his mind, just to be able to talk to him and bounce ideas off of him would be amazing. But what he did with the Big Three was, really amazing too, because I mean, he realized that the NBA paid all these billions of dollars to build our brands up, and then when a team say we're done, it's just gone. But there's still so much brand equity in it because we have billions of dollars behind it.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, he created a platform for guys that were just sitting on the couch chilling or just playing golf or, you know, still playing runs, you know, in their local neighborhoods to get back on that stage. And what we love is the lights. You know what I mean? The lights is what it's all about. And, you know, especially all the guys that played in the Big Three, most of us played 10 plus years, so we know exactly what the lights feel like. And it's cool to be able to go and play against each other, you know, hang out with each other. One of the things, advantages for me, I think is the biggest, is that my kids get to see me play. Because they were so young my last couple years in the league, they don't remember. So now they see me, and it's funny, I went to Hawaii for spring break, and we're in the grocery store in the hotel, and I could hear this guy talking to my 6-year-old, and he's like, who's that? Who's your dad? And she's like, he plays basketball, he plays for the Trilogy. When it's like, nah, I'll play in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? But like, all she knows is Trilogy, you know what I'm saying? So it just lets me know the impact of like,
that's amazing.
Her being able to now know what's going on. So it's cool. So, you know, big ups to Cube, and hope you just continue to just, you know,
yeah, I mean, and your team did pretty well, right? In this,
yeah, we went undefeated the first year. Second year,
how does that feel?
It felt good, you know what I mean? It felt good because everybody wanted us to lose, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, by like week 7, like guys that usually would play and just leave, they would come to the court and just hope we lose. So for us to be able to go 10-0 and win it with everybody wanting us to lose was definitely fun, and it still gives us bragging rights, even though we didn't play that well this year, but it was a lot of fun.
100%, 100%. Cool. Well, you know, I think we walked through the Instagram. Those are some amazing stories. We like to give a shout out to our sponsors as we get in the show. Shout out to Candy Pens. They make amazing vaporizers. They help make this show possible. Shout out to Swami Select. They make beautiful outdoor cannabis from Northern California, Mendocino County. And also we should give a shout out to Viola. You've got a couple brands here. It's not just flour, it's not just oil. You have a multiple lines. You want to just tell us a little bit about the products that you have going on?
Yeah, so with Viola, we got, like I said, we started off with concentrates. So that's what we're really famous for. We're famous for our live resin. You know, that's, you know, probably our #1 product. Here in California, we sell flour, premium flour, pre-rolls. We have our Viola Light coming out around Christmas time or whatever, and that'll be like high-end light depths, just, you know, for price points, and we want everybody to be able to afford Viola, have the experience. We have vape carts coming out, where we'll have disposables. We also have C-cells. We'll have an edible line coming around June or whatever. It'll be like hard candies. I won't do chocolates or anything like that for now. And on the CBD side, I just launched my first product line called Re+play or whatever. So Re+play has a topical tincture, capsules, and we have like a recovery shot or whatever. So you could take it pre-workout, but usually most people take it after the workout. Kind of relaxes you, little aches and pains and stuff kind of, you know, subside, you know, really quickly because of the nanotechnology we have in the shot.
Absolutely. That sounds like almost like an entire dispensary worth of products right there. It's like really all over the place.
Yeah, man, you know, it is. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, a lot of people say you should just focus on one thing, you know, but I think that because of my background in the space, I'm an operator as well. So I know how to grow. I know how to manufacture, you know what I'm saying? So I know how to do all these things, so it's already in our wheelhouse because we've been doing it for so long. So that's why I'm comfortable with my team being able to create different things. And like I said, you know, it's all about team, and I got a strong one. And that's why we make it all possible, because I'm definitely not doing it all by myself.
100%. It's all about having a really good team.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the next segment we like to do on About That Time is called Roll the News. Obviously, cannabis is making headlines everywhere.
Yeah.
We like to pick some out. And we can talk about it. And the first one is actually coming from your home state.
Okay.
The state of New Jersey has some major cannabis-related news happening right now. Lawmakers have approved the recreational use bill that was in committee, and now it's going to be voted on by the House. And the governor has already said that if it passes the House, he will sign the bill. Tell me how that feels.
Feels good. It's funny, I just had a call about that yesterday. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm positive. I think the people in New Jersey want it. You know, I think that, you know, a lot of these states are realizing that, you know, they see all the opportunity and growth in all these other states that are allowing it, the tax revenues, different things like that. And just the research that's coming out that cannabis helps with so many things, and I tell you, if more people smoke, I think we have a lot less crime and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just think that, the state of New Jersey is paying attention to what's going on. I don't think it's a home run yet. I think there's still a little bit of work that's going to have to be done, to get it to the point where, it just makes sense and, everybody can, really be a part of it. But I'm excited, for what's to come in New Jersey, and I will definitely be there. I'm from there, and all I want to do is go there and create opportunities.
Yeah, and the governor's on page. There's two other aspects of the bill. The first is recreational use, the second is medical, and the third is criminal justice reform.
Correct.
So let's hope that they don't forget about parts 2 and 3,
right.
And just rush through number 1.
Yes, sir.
But the governor's supporting it. That's a good thing. And the other thing, New York hates being beat to the punch at anything, right? So this is kind of like, I feel like the PATH train is going to be busier than ever. Am I right? That's going to be, the PATH train is going to be the new cool shit.
Right.
You take the PATH train to get the weed because New Jersey beat him to the punch. Right.
So I know New York is definitely paying attention to that, and I'm sure we'll be hearing some big news coming out of New York in the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
They won't be able to handle it more than we do. All right, state of New Jersey making changes. We have another story about making changes. Representative Joe Kennedy from Massachusetts, obviously amazing political legacy from the Kennedy family. He has come out as having changed his stance on cannabis. Formerly, he wanted to oppose it and recreational use and legalization and medical research. He has officially changed his platform, and he is obviously someone who comes from a huge political dynasty here,
Correct.
Who's kind of seen the light. A quote from his camp said that he spoke with experts in the field who sort of opened his eyes to the amount of good things that are out there. So this is sort of a huge political heavyweight coming out in favor of cannabis and cannabis reform. I think that's a pretty huge one.
Yeah, it is. It's huge, and I think that it all comes down to, like you said, he was convinced from hearing more evidence and more research data and stuff like that to the point where now he supports it. And I tell people, even just regular people, because everyone has an opinion, and I think that more people need to come out of, I call it not the closet, but the green door, and let people know that you use and why you use it. Even if you use it just because you want to relax, that's fine. Because I know people that drink wine because they just want to relax. They have no problem saying that. And I think that that's the way that we're going to continue to get this industry moving forward in that direction, to continue to change people's minds, is through us telling our stories and why we use and why our family members use. Because that allows you to humanize what we're doing. Because this is so much better than any of these other things, prescription drugs, alcohol, it's so much better, opioids, different things like that. It's here, so tell people, you know what I'm saying? Be proud of it, step up, let people know, because the reason why I played in the big three was two things. Was one, because of my kids, but two was because I wanted to show people that athletes that use cannabis can still be very productive, and I proved that. I didn't win MVP, I won Too Hard to Guard, and I medicated every day. You know what I mean? And not only that, I run a company every day, and I'm a parent every day, and I'm a husband every day, and I do a great job at it. And I use cannabis every day. You know what I'm saying? This is part of my life. And I'm like a walking billboard of that you can use cannabis and still be successful. And like I said, and that's my story, and that's the reason why people got to know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Changing minds is super important. And I think you play a really unique role. I think a lot of people are open to the information that you're sharing. You've had some conversations with huge and influential people about cannabis that has had a lot of impact, particularly with David Stern.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that conversation evolved?
Yeah, so I saw him at this milking conference here in LA. And, David has probably one of the best minds ever. Like, he remembers everything. Because literally, I walk up to him. I'm like, what's up, Dave? He's like, hey, how you doing? What you doing here? I was like, just, learning, whatever. He's like, how's your knee? And I'm like, for him to remember, my knee is the reason why I stopped playing is just, crazy. You know what I mean? So I just told him my knee, all right, but I'm, in the cannabis space. And he's like, yeah, I want to learn more. He's like, I have a place in Aspen. So he's like, I see it all the time. So I was like, yeah, I want to talk to you about it. So it took me 8 months to get a meeting with him. He's that busy. And I had a 15-minute window. Go and meet with him. A 15-minute meeting turned to an hour. And I told him my grandmother's story. I told him my story about my knee, talked about everything. And he was like, okay, let's meet again. So we met again like 2 months later. And then that second meeting is when I asked him, I said, you mind if I interview you on camera or whatever? And he was like, I don't know, let's keep talking. So the third time I went to New York again and we sat down and we talked. And the story that I was able to like kind of flip him was it was like this, and I'll get a short version. I just told him, I said, with NBA players, like, after a game, you know what your players do. Like, we're so amped up after a game, like the first thing we do is tell a boy to go get us some Grey Goose. You know what I'm saying? Or some Hennessy or whatever, and we drink to calm down. By the time we drink, get on the bus, drinking, plane to the next city, we go to bed like we're dehydrated. There's no way I could be the best that I can be the next day. But I said, just imagine if you allow in the NBA, where instead of these doctors, the trainers walking around with all these anti-inflammatory bullshit pills, prescription pills and all this, imagine he walked around with an edible that had 100 milligrams of CBD and 5% THC and gave it to the players after the game. You know what I'm saying? Now we relax. Now we allow our bodies to heal from within. Which player would you rather go out and play the next day?
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear.
And he said, wow, like that makes too much sense. You know what I'm saying? And he agreed to do the interview, and, I was able to get him to say that, the NBA should really look at their policy about allowing players to consume cannabis.
Yeah, because different leagues have different policies, and, to that point, there's a lot of beneficial components to that decision.
There's a lot.
Yeah, 100%. Now, this is a little bit more of a lighthearted news story. On Roll the News. Elon Musk, obviously a legendary entrepreneur, publicly smoked cannabis a couple months back, and that caught some headlines. He was on Joe Rogan's show.
Oh, okay.
And, it caught a lot of headlines, but now there's actually a second headline because NASA has said that because he smoked cannabis publicly, they're going to be reviewing the SpaceX contracts with NASA, because under federal policy, workplaces have to be drug-free.
Oh, wow.
So just because this guy may or may not have taken a hit of weed on Joe Rogan's show, it looks like NASA is going to be coming in and reviewing their contracts with the federal government. Now, do you think that that's fair?
I mean, I don't know. That's ridiculous. Let's not even give NASA that love.
NASA, you're getting no love from us.
You're getting no love for that.
It's too much. Elon's flying rockets for you. I'm sure he's doing a good job. He really cares.
Most people that create all this IP and tech, they're on drugs when they create it. Duh.
It can be very inspirational.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he had at some point in his life say, I want to be responsible for a rocket going to the moon. You think he was sober?
He was on another plane. Sure.
That's my point.
I think it's a very unique perspective, Al. I think we should definitely tweet that at NASA as soon as possible.
Dude,
guys.
You know what? I'm gonna build something and go to Mars.
Yeah. It's a pretty wild thought.
That's a pretty wild thought. Not for no sober mind.
And he's pretty darn close to executing it too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, let's just be real on where his head's probably at. Okay. Now, speaking of going to the moon, Al, we like to make sure that we've, checked in with the world, we've checked in with you. We like to also check in with the stars. We have a segment we called Astrology Time. Now, did you grow up with astrology?
No.
We break out our salt crystal lamp.
I've heard about it.
The Gemini, the Aquarius. You're an Aquarius, I believe.
Correct.
But you know what the deal is with the horoscope. People like to obsess about their horoscope, and they say, I read the horoscope, I'm such a whatever, as maybe an excuse or whatever. So what we did is we took your chart, your horoscope, and we picked some sentences out of it, and you can just tell us if they're on point or not.
Oh my God.
Does the horoscope actually know you, Al? Yeah. Please let us know. Okay, element number 1. It says he prefers to express himself non-verbally. Do you think you express yourself in a non-verbal way as well as a verbal way?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Okay, tell us more about that.
No, that's a really accurate statement. I don't believe it. I know I've been talking my ass off with you right now, but normally I don't say much. I kind of just sit and and then people obviously they read me. You know what I mean? And I wear my emotions on my sleeve, so you know what I'm saying. So I would say that I'm pretty good at it because people can definitely pick up my vibe without me saying much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
Cool. So the horoscope sounds like it was doing all right on that one.
Yep.
Okay, this one is about love, and love impacts all of us. it says, may experience unusual romantic circumstances. Would you agree that love is strange, Al?
Yeah, love is strange, but I haven't had any of that.
No unusual romantic circumstances, though. Agreed, love is strange.
Exactly.
So, the horoscope is tapping into something. Maybe just not exactly that.
Right.
All right, we've got another one. Element number 3 from tonight's installment of Astrology Time likes to invest in art, antiques, and other objects with the potential to increase in value.
No, not at all.
No.
That is definitely not me.
You're not investing in art and antiques to increase in value.
I want to start investing in art, but I haven't gotten the time to educate myself because I understand there definitely is a process to that. And,
Absolutely.
But no, that's not accurate for me.
Okay. Investing in other things, though. Investing in a brand.
I like to invest in anything that's going to bring me some fast money back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's always
Let's be
proven
real.
to not be the best motivation for an investment.
Quick money is not always smart money.
All
I think
money,
they
not
say.
good money for sure.
All right, guys. Well, it's an important lesson right there. Value investing is important. The horoscope is telling us value investing, guys.
Right.
Keep
Take
it
your
chill.
time.
It's okay if it takes a few years for it to come
Yes,
back.
take your
because
time.
it turns out that's the best stable kind of money you can get. Okay. Element number 4 from tonight's installment of Astrology Time often starts laying career plans in childhood. Do you feel like you kind of had a sense that this is where you would be headed when you were a kid?
Definitely not. I was so scared of weed growing up. Are you serious? Hell no. So let's just X that now. I had a career path. I was going to play in the NFL for the Giants.
Right.
I was going to go to Notre Dame. Had no idea how hard it was to get in Notre Dame academically. Not just saying I wasn't smart, but just I didn't know. And I wanted to play for the Giants, man. I love the Giants. My cousin Roy Simmons played for the Giants, so, I definitely had it all planned out. I was going to buy a nice car. I was going to get my mom a big house. I had all that planned out.
Okay, but
sure.
it was a different sport that was going to take you there.
It was just a different sport.
It's okay. So you laid the ideas.
I laid
Okay,
it
there
down.
was
Now I
seed.
made it
sounds
happen.
Like, it sounds like the horoscope
it was just the
okay.
other sport. Yeah, so that was pretty good.
All right, there we go. The horoscope was not perfect, but the horoscope never is. That was Astrology Time. I think it was interesting. I think we
Yeah,
had
that was dope.
some insights there. Okay, now Al, we like to make sure that we give you an opportunity to let everybody know about what they should be checking for from you. We're about to head into the new year. We're headed into the holiday season. What should everybody be checking for in the world of Al?
Yeah, check for us. We got a Rolling Loud pop-up coming in December. That's going to be a movie.
Tell us more about that Rolling Loud pop-up. What's that going to be like?
Well, obviously I'm going to have all my friends, some of my celebrity homeboys there, cool DJ, just a great Viola vibe.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That Viola lifestyle thing. And, we're going to be offering 3 hoodies, a couple T-shirts, and we're trying to get this bag done in time, and some socks.
Okay.
Got some socks coming too. Yeah, so you got that coming up. We are looking to expand as a company internationally. So we have a deal in Jamaica.
Oh, amazing.
So Viola should be in Jamaica very soon. I got a license application in New Jersey. Hopefully I get a New Jersey application. That'd be cool to be announcing that really soon. But that's pretty much it. We're just gonna keep grinding. Keep just, blowing this brand up, through strategic partnerships and relationships. And, we also have a cool campaign coming. I can't say it. This one I can't say, but it's gonna be cool.
All right. Well, it's good to have secrets because it gives people something to look out for.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you're checking in with Al. Make sure you're checking in with Viola. We also want to give a huge shout out, once again, to our sponsors, Candy Pens. They make amazing vaporizers.
Candy Pen, can we do a deal together?
Candy Pens. Al Harrington is down.
What's up?
He
Purple?
wants to
It
build.
works. Let's work.
Purple on purple, it will work. We also give a shout out to Swami Select, makers of beautiful cannabis. We're Spoken All. Al, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks,
It's
Noah.
been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Mary Jane, about that time.